We live in interesting times. Today's stories. Alberta brings in new restrictions in an effort to contain the spread of COVID-19. A proposed property tax relief to help small businesses in Ontario. Canadians remember those who served and continue to serve the country. Man accused in Toronto's incel van attack pleads not criminally responsible. Fauci says the vaccine cavalry is en route but urges vigilance. In sports, 2020 to 2021 NBA season returns in December. And NBA potential draft pick Anthony Edwards talks workouts with teams, character, and Dwayne Wade's tweet. Hello everyone, you're watching Eagle News International from Canada. I am Cara Cabusao Pascual reporting from St. John, New Brunswick, bringing you stories from across the globe. As cases in Alberta continue to rise, new restrictions are implemented in effort to contain the spread of COVID-19. EBC correspondent Thomas Likeness with more details.
The numbers keep rising. Alberta has more than 8,300 active cases of COVID-19. Now, this infection this week has put 121 people in hospital. 51 of them are in intensive care. That's almost half of them. And no one is immune. Get this. Premier Jason Kenney, our premier here, joined a news conference by telephone this week. Why? Because he's at home. And why is he at home? He's self-isolating after being exposed to an infective person. Kenney says the drain on healthcare resources is jeopardizing care for people with other illnesses.
The Edmonton zone has already had to postpone about 30% of elective surgeries as a result. Our rising community spread is putting our healthcare system under real stress. And we are at a dangerous juncture in our province. These numbers I've just shared add up to one unavoidable fact. The growing number of hospitalizations, ICU admissions, are challenging our ability to continue delivering non-urgent health services that Albertans depend on. And this, of course, affects everyone.
The Premier is bowed to pressure from healthcare professionals. Over the last week, they've been imploring him to implement what's called a circuit breaker lockdown for a couple of weeks anyway. And he's met them partway, brought in new restrictions, but they're in areas with high numbers of cases. Now, starting tomorrow, indoor fitness classes, team sports, they're going to be banned for the next 2 weeks. As well, restaurants and bars in these areas will have to be closed by 11 o'clock at night. And it's Take 5 for amateur singing, dancing, and theater groups. They're going to be on hold for 2 weeks as well. Maximum attendance at weddings and funerals will be limited to 50 people. But are these measures enough? Well, if the numbers don't come down and come down soon, more restrictions are on the way. While we wait for the curve to flatten, I wish you all good health. Remember to take care of others and take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic and other current affairs. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
As small businesses continue to struggle due to COVID-19, the Ontario government proposes to reduce the business education tax to help them. Here's Eagle News correspondent Sabrina De Los Reyes with the details.
As part of Ontario's action plan, Protect, Support, Recover, the Government of Ontario proposes to give municipalities the ability to provide property tax relief to small businesses. Here is Premier Doug Ford with the announcement.
My friends, we're sparing no expense to support businesses and keep people safe. And I'm proud to announce today our government is giving municipalities the flexibility to provide property tax relief to small businesses. We've heard from Mayor Tory and other mayors that they want more tools to provide targeted relief to small businesses in their communities. Mayor Tory, we heard you loud and clear, and we're going to give you those tools. Starting in 2021, we'll allow municipalities to provide a property tax reduction to their small businesses. And our government will consider matching those municipal reductions to further reduce taxes on our small businesses. Depending on the amount of municipal take-up, this tool could provide small businesses with municipal and provincial property tax relief totaling $385 million by 2022.
In Ontario, regardless of having high or low profit, all businesses must pay property taxes. However, the Business Education Tax, or BET, still varies widely in rates across the province, and the inequity strongly affects small business owners operating within high BET rate communities. The proposed property tax relief will help small businesses currently struggling as a result of the pandemic. Starting on January 1st, 2021, Ontario will reduce the BET rates to 0.88% for approximately 94% of all business properties in Ontario. This reduction will create $450 million in immediate annual savings. Furthermore, the province promises to reduce taxes on jobs. Here is Minister of Finance Rod Phillips with more details.
Back in March, we more than doubled the employer health tax exemption to $1 million. We've heard from employers across Ontario that this measure helped them keep workers on the job during COVID-19. So we're proposing to make this exemption permanent. That means an additional 30,000 Ontario small and medium-sized employers will no longer pay this tax.
Ontario is also offering a $1,000 grant to Main Street businesses for PPE costs as part of the Main Street Relief Grant beginning on November 16, 2020. Eligible businesses will be able to apply for all aforementioned funding through one application. As of Wednesday, November 11, Ontario reports an increase of 1,426 COVID-19 cases, a new high record of daily cases for the province since the beginning of the pandemic. 468 of the cases are in Peel Region, 384 in Toronto, 180 in York Region, 63 in Durham Region, and 62 in Hamilton. There have been 15 deaths reported and 886 resolved cases. Currently, there are 10,361 total confirmed active cases in Ontario. In Toronto, Sabrina Solano de los Reyes, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Due to COVID-19 and the current restrictions, Canadians remember those who served and continue to serve the country differently this year. Eagle News correspondent Andre Lajoie with the story.
November 11 marks the Remembrance Day as Canadians remember the men and women who served and continue to serve during the times of war, conflict, and peace for our country, Canada. Canadians across the country pause to honor the sacrifice, the bravery, and the service done by our veterans. With the restriction in the social gathering due to COVID-19 pandemic, the celebration for the Remembrance Day is held virtual by the Royal Canadian Legion. The Canadian Legion posted a virtual wall of honor on its website to commemorate Canadian soldiers with a photo montage of Canadian veterans who have served and sacrificed for the freedom Canadians enjoy today. Legion members and other volunteers distribute tens of millions of puppies every year in support of the veterans and their families. The puppy is a symbol for Remembrance Day in Canada. According to the Legion, this year's ceremony is taking place at the National War Memorial and only 100 participants can attend, and the rest of the Canadians can watch live on social media. There are no Veterans Parade and no Canadian Armed Force Parade this year. This year also marks the 75th year anniversary of the Second World War. Some wreaths are laid ahead of time, and spectators are discouraged to attend the Remembrance Day due to the limited space and the requirements to physical distancing. Among the attendants to pay special tribute by laying the wreath at the National War Memorial are Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, along with his wife Sophie Grégoire Trudeau, the Governor-General Julie Payette, the Minister of Veterans Affairs of Canada Lawrence MacAulay, Chief of Defense Staff General Jonathan Vance, and Speaker of the House Anthony Rhoda. Other participants are Assembly First Nations National Chief Perry Bellegarde and Debbie Sullivan, this year's Silver Cross Mother. This is André Lajoie. We live an interesting time.
New provincial orders has been issued in the Metro Vancouver area due to spiking COVID-19 cases. Eagle News correspondent Vanessa Condi with more.
As the provincial state of emergency has officially been extended from Tuesday, there has been a new provincial order for the Vancouver Coastal Health Region and Fraser Health Region. Provincial Health Officer Dr. Bonnie Henry has announced there are to be no social gatherings of any size with anyone other than your immediate household. Also, it prohibits indoor group fitness classes. The new orders will be in effect until November 23rd at 3 p.m. Currently, there are 5,793 active cases, the highest active cases in BC, and 155 people hospitalized, which is also a record for BC.
So on the left-hand side, the cumulative total are cases from January 1st until November 5th. And then the blue graph on the right-hand side reflects the last 2 weeks between October 23rd to November 5th. And as you can see, the pandemic, as we know, has affected every area of the province, but more has affected more the areas in the Fraser Health and Vancouver Coastal Health Region, and particularly in the last 2 weeks, that is where we're seeing the intensity of the transmission.
There has also been data collected about where the most exposure has happened across the age groups, as Dr. Bonnie Henry has mentioned.
So this is just the information that we've gathered by exposure setting by age group since the beginning, middle of September when schools opened. As we have seen all along, the primary source where people are exposed is through their households or community interactions. So these are the social interactions we have, whether it's having people over to our house, having family meetings or family gatherings, whether it's having parties, celebrations, and whether it's in the community when we're connecting with people, our neighbors before our kids' soccer game. We've seen transmission where people have been going to the gym, for example, and all the right measures are being taken at the gym, but they're congregating before or after. We've seen it in hockey arenas. We've seen it at some youth football games. We've seen it with old-timers hockey leagues where the sport itself is fine, but it's the gathering together afterwards.
Similar to other provinces in Canada and places all around the world, BC has seen a spike in cases. The hope is that the measures in place will see the rate of cases drop across the province. I am Vanessa Condi from Victoria, BC, reporting for Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
A Canadian man inspired by the misogynist incel movement to kill 10 people by plowing a van into pedestrians in Toronto pleaded not criminally responsible due to mental illness at the start of his trial Tuesday. Alec Manassian faces 10 charges of premeditated murder and 16 of attempted murder following the April 2018 attack that left dead 8 women and 2 men, aged 22 to 94 years old, and other badly injured in Canada's largest city. I'm entering a plea of not criminally responsible on all counts, he told the Ontario Superior Court. The 28-year-old, wearing a shirt and suit jacket, appeared via video link from prison where he has been held since his arrest on the day of the rampage. The trial is being held by video conference because of the COVID-19 restrictions. Kathy Riddle, 67, who was struck from behind in the attack and thrown 15 feet or 4.5 meters, earlier told reporters she was feeling nervous but optimistic as she entered the courthouse for the trial. She has said she didn't hear the van coming as it mounted a curb, nor does she remember being struck. Victims' families lamented that Manassian would not see them on the video link, unlike in traditional trials in which they may face the accused. The trial is expected to last about 4 weeks and will be heard by a judge with no jury. Since he has already admitted to planning and carrying out the carnage, the trial will focus on Manassian's state of mind and criminal responsibility at the time of the attack, not whether he was the perpetrator. His mother says he suffers from Asperger's syndrome, a mild form of autism that includes impaired social interactions or communication. Psychiatrists will testify at the trial. The attack took place on a sunny spring afternoon in the North York neighborhood of Toronto when crowds strolled along busy city streets. The accused drove a white rented van at high speeds along 2 kilometers of roads and sidewalks, indiscriminately targeting passers-by one by one. U.S. government scientist Anthony Fauci said Thursday the coronavirus vaccine cavalry is coming, but urged the public not to let down its guard and called for a stronger WHO to ward off future pandemics. Fauci, a world-leading expert on infectious diseases who have been at serious odds with President Donald Trump over COVID-19, said that after Pfizer's vaccine, another is literally on the threshold of being announced. Moderna, which is co-developing its vaccine candidate with the U.S. National Institutes of Health, says it is close to reaching a threshold in trials to apply for an emergency use authorization from U.S. regulators.
Clearly have a very effective vaccine that's getting ready to be deployed. We have another one literally on the threshold of being announced where you have enough data to make a statement about the second. And then there's 2 or 3 or 4 or more vaccines. So vaccines will help us. What we've got to do is just hang on and continue to do and double down on the public health measures.
While Trump has sought to sideline Fauci in public, the scientist said he anticipated continuing his 4 decades of government work as Democrat Joe Biden prepares to take office in January. As director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, Fauci said his role in public health was getting the message across based on science. I've done that for decades, and I think I'm going to be continuing to do that, he said. Although for now he is barred from speaking directly to Biden's team as the Trump administration holds out on recognizing this month's election result. Biden has signaled that his administration will reverse Trump's decision to withdraw the United States from the UN's World Health Organization. The current pandemic was a sharp reminder for the need for global coordination, Fauci said, urging leaders to make sure the international health structures, the WHO, really get strengthened. Fauci also dwelt on the anti-science agitation that has erupted under Trump and other populist leaders, which has seen him personally targeted with death threats. Last week, former Trump advisor Steve Bannon faced a clampdown from social media companies after he called for the beheading of federal officials, including Fauci. The political and personalized backlash against science was unprecedented, Fauci said, but he stressed his fundamental confidence that the better angels will prevail. Coming up, in sports, 2020 to 2021 NBA season returns in December. And NBA potential draft pick Anthony Edwards talks workouts with teams, character, and Dwayne Wade's tweet. Eagle News International continues after this.
Turuan din natin ang mga bata ng tamang paghugas ng mga kamay. Basain ang kamay ng tubig at lagyan ng sabon. Kuskusin ang iyong mga palad. Gayon din ang pagitan ng mga daliri. Pati na ang likod ng mga palad at daliri. Ganon din ang iyong hinlalaki, kasama ang mga dulo ng iyong mga daliri. Pagkatapos ay iyong kalapulsuhan. Gawin ito ng kahit 20 segundo. Pagkatapos ay banlawan ng tubig at patuyuin.
Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News International from Canada. I am Cara Cabuso Pascual from St. John, New Brunswick. In sports, the NBA season is set to return on December 22. Eagle News sports reporter Zerita Sessa reports.
After a whirlwind 2019-2020 season, the NBA announced that they, along with the Players Association, have agreed to a December 22nd tip-off. With its return, the offseason will be significantly cut short as teams will only see a 10-week offseason and will play 72 regular season games. The next couple of weeks will also be jam-packed for the league as they hold the NBA draft on November 18th and free agency beginning on November 20th. As for how the games will look like, there doesn't appear to be an indication that another bubble situation will occur. However, there has been no word from the league just yet. As for the attendance, it was reported by The Athletic's Shams Charania that the league had advised organizations that they will only allow 20 to 50% capacity for arenas that are within jurisdictions that will allow such. On top of the reduced capacity, social distancing protocols will be put in place and fans are required to wear a mask. Current reigning NBA champions, the Los Angeles Lakers, have already confirmed that they will not be having any fans in attendance until further notice. As tip-off day draws closer, it's expected that more and more organizations will come forward with their intended plans. One team whose home city is unknown at this time is the Toronto Raptors, who may find themselves in the same boat as the Toronto Blue Jays, who opted to play in Buffalo rather than Toronto. It was reported that the NBA and the organization is working closely with Canadian officials to determine if the Raptors can come home to play. Public health officials from Toronto said that the Raptors organization has presented good health protocols. However, the inevitable cross-border travel continues to be a concern. At this time, the Canada-US border continues to be closed for non-essential travel, and anyone coming into Canada must participate in a 14-day quarantine. Though it's the desire of the organization to play in their city, various locations have come up as a potential home for the Raptors this upcoming season. Cities like Nashville, Louisville, Kansas City, and Fort Lauderdale have been thrown around, but reports from Sportsnet suggest that Tampa Bay has been the favorite thus far. With such a short timeline, many organizations have many decisions to make, and it's no doubt that we're in for another unprecedented NBA season come December. Reporting from Toronto, Canada, Zerita Sesse, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
The class of 2020 is getting ready to begin their professional journey at the next Wednesday's NBA draft. Eagle News sports correspondent Tenny Sumagi with more on potential lottery pick, Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards is projected to go into the top 3 in next Wednesday's NBA draft. The shooting guard from Georgia speaks about working out in front of Charlotte Hornets owner Michael Jordan, plus his character and what Dwayne Wade tweeted about him.
It was crazy that he came in the gym. It was just shocking. It was like, that's crazy. That's Michael Jordan. But as far as like any further conversations, I haven't talked to them since they came out. I think it'll be a dream come true. Like if they draft me, it'll be a dream come true no matter who I play for. I feel like I just want to show them that I'm a great kid off the court. Like I'm always smiling, I'm always happy, and I'm just a good spirit. I'm kind-hearted, and and I'm just competitive. I'm ready to go, and I'll just be happy with, where I fall.
Will Edwards be the overall #1 pick and go to the Minnesota Timberwolves, or will we see him join the Golden State Warriors with the Splash Brothers, Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, or go to the Hornets? NBA draft is slated to be seen virtually on November 18. In New York, Tenny Samagi, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
For those who continue to do their part in preventing COVID-19 by staying at home and who want to learn something new in the kitchen, this feature is for you. Courtesy of the Oliparis family from Hawaii. Watch and learn.
Today we're going to be grilling on the grill some salmon topped with cucumber and avocado salsa. Okay, let's begin. So we're going to mix this all into a bowl. So we're gonna mix 1 teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper,
Not too much though. Okay, mommy, turn now.
2 teaspoons of the chili powder, and 2 teaspoons of the cumin.
This one. One more. That's too much. 2.
You can use your hands. Just like that. Then we're gonna put the salmon in. Like that on both sides. And it should look just like that. Now it's ready for the grill. You want to turn on your grill or light your grill with the wood. First thing on your grill, you need to preheat your grill. Get it nice and hot, ready for the fish. After you preheated your grill, put the fish on the grill. And you leave it on one side for 5 minutes. And then flip the other side for another 5 minutes. We're gonna need 1 avocado diced, 1 cup of diced cucumber, 1/4 cup chopped cilantro, 1 lime juice, 2 teaspoons of olive oil, and a half teaspoon of salt. So you put everything into the bowl, the avocado diced, and then the 1 diced cucumber, the chopped cilantro, and you mix it all in. Oh, and also the lime juice.
No, let mommy do it then. Hold on. Your turn.
And you mix it. Okay, now when your salmon is done from the grill, we're gonna put it on some lettuce. Lay the lettuce on, put some lettuce and put the salmon on. And then we're gonna put our salsa topping.
That's our program for today. Join us next week as we bring stories that matter to you. Visit our website at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenews and on Facebook at facebook.com/eaglenews. Thank you for watching. I am Cara Cabusao Pascual. We live in interesting times.